Now at 5, the man behind the turnover chain,
we're going to be tough,
is now the University of Miami's main man.
Just when you think the ride is crazy, if you think you've had all the crazy you can handle, crazy has a way of saying, watch this.
Tonight, a whirlwind weekend in Coral Gables leads to this. Manny Diaz, introduced as the new Hurricanes head coach. In the span of 10 hours on Sunday, Mark Richt had retired as the Hurricanes head football coach, and Manny Diaz was hired to replace him.
But that, of course, meant Diaz, the son, of course, of Miami's former mayor, had to break some hearts in the city of brotherly love. CBS 4 Sports anchor Jim Barry is here now with what Miami's new man had to say about his new role. Jim.
Certainly a crazy weekend for sure. Manny Diaz sure seems to bleed orange and green, and it may take that kind of commitment to turn around a 7-6 team that always expects to be a national contender. But if anyone believes it can happen, it's Diaz.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 25th head coach of the University of Miami, Manny Diaz.
It was a pinch me, I must be dreaming moment for Manny Diaz. His first collegiate head coaching job turns out to be his dream gig at the U. And the way it happened will someday be a good first chapter in his book.
And just when you think the ride is crazy, if you think you've had all the crazy you can handle, crazy has a way of saying, watch this.
3 weeks ago, Diaz had accepted the head coaching job at Temple. Sunday morning, he was in Miami putting together his staff for that team when athletic director Blake James told him Mark Richt had just retired.
As I gathered my thoughts on who would be best to move our program forward, Manny Diaz was at the top of my list.
Actually, Diaz was the list. Within hours, he backed out of the Temple deal to take the helm at UM. To him, it was a case of absolute perfect timing. If this had happened 1 week later, it couldn't have happened, right?
If it didn't happen 5 hours later, it may not have happened.
Now, Diaz hopes to reignite the passion he first saw in the Canes 35 years ago when they won their first national title by beating Nebraska.
We're going to play fast, okay? We're going to use our speed. We're going to let our athletes go, all right? And then lastly, we're going to have fun.
UM's defense, with Diaz running the show, certainly had fun with its turnover chain. The offense, though, has been another story.
We got to put something on the field, and we got to put something on TV that the young men who are the best football in the country, which we know is down here in South Florida, those guys say, I have to be a Hurricane.
While Diaz bubbles with enthusiasm, his Cuban-American family is overflowing with pride. As head coach of one of the most storied programs in college football, he might end up being even more famous than his dad, who was once Miami mayor.
We got here with 10 cents in our pocket, and you know, her son grew up to be mayor of the city, and now grandson is the coach of our university. Doesn't get any better than that.
Now, Diaz has wasted absolutely no time making changes. He has fired the entire offensive staff, along with the team's strength coach. And as you can see, he is intense. He
Wow.
said, we're going to have fun.
It's all about the U.
Okay, yeah,
I like that he
is.
wants to have fun, though, but this is, his father kind of mentioned the American dream there, and this has been a dream for him and quite the journey to get here.
Matter of fact, his dad told me that his son, now the head football coach at UM, learned to read by reading the sports pages.
Wow.
And that's how dedicated he is, and he really followed his dream as a graduate assistant at a number of different schools, starting out with zero money, just really on a wing of prayer and a dream, and here he is.
But when Manny Diaz was a little kid watching the Hurricanes win at the Orange Bowl, they had great quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
And we need a quarterback now. What does he plan to do about that?
He says, you know, he remembers those days when UM was known as Quarterback U, and he admits that maybe they don't have the quarterback they need on this team right now. And Coach Perry, of course, was a guy who showed flashes, but as you heard him say in the story, flashes won't get it at UM. You got to be consistent. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go out shopping for another quarterback, maybe even a transfer player. We'll see.
All right, Jim. Thank you very much.